What drew you to and intrigued you about this specific story? It and hashtag 039's intriguing that you would claim that I was doing one of the more difficult scenes. It does, in fact, express my excitement, you know. This film needed to focus on what I actually did and the actual people who experienced those events. Ron Howard is a name that has come to represent television and film around the world. But you and hashtag 039 are going to be surprised if you believe that his life is just the story of a young actor who became a famous filmmaker. Ron Howard and hashtag 039's life is full of exciting adventures, difficulties, and tenacity, from rising to popularity at an early age to making his breakthrough behind the camera. Howard has shaped the contemporary film industry as a visionary producer in addition to being a notable filmmaker. However, what made a sweet-looking youngster who made his television debut in The Andy Griffith Show grow into a successful director of popular movies like Apollo 13 and A Beautiful Mind? Come along as we examine Ron Howard and hashtag 039's life and hashtag 039's intriguing journey, from his first steps on set to his ascent to Hollywood and hashtag 039's artistic pinnacles. Film business. His early years, in contrast to others, were characterized by lengthy days spent on set, auditions, and the incessant glare of stage lights. When Ron was just 18 months old, he made his acting debut in a little part in one of his father and hashtag 039's movies. Filmmakers were immediately drawn to Ron and hashtag 039's naive face and beautiful eyes, and he soon gained recognition as a child actor. Even if prosperity came quickly, life wasn't and hashtag 039's always simple. Ron Howard became well known throughout America for his portrayal of Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show. Behind the scenes, however, he managed the challenging challenge of juggling school and the movie set. His parents were very careful to make sure he grew as a student as well as an actor. Ron had access to private tutors and would spend hours every day working on schoolwork in the secluded areas of the DeCello Studios, one of Hollywood and hashtag 039's most famous studios. But there were difficulties in life. There were challenges associated with being a well-known kid actress, particularly in the classroom. Ron was teased by his peers because of his popularity. Other children frequently corrupted the name of his character, Opie, into insults like "soapy," or "dopey," Once, after avoiding the school restroom because of bullying, he even had to deal with the humiliation of wetting his trousers in front of his peers. But with his family and hashtag 039's support and direction, Ron learned to overcome these obstacles and ultimately developed a close-knit circle of pals. Ron received priceless acting and art lessons in the middle of these hardships. In the evenings, his family would frequently get together to watch movies and talk about everything from acting methods to the subtleties of narrative. Ron became passionate about the world behind the camera as well as acting as a result of these conversations. Ron and hashtag 039's ambition to become a director started to take shape during these family times. Ron made the decision to follow his goal after graduating from John Burroughs High School and enrolled at the School of Cinematic Arts at the University of Southern California, one of the most prominent film institutions in the nation. However, Ron was compelled to drop out of the school before earning his degree because of the demands of his acting profession and ongoing film projects. Nevertheless, Ron had a strong basis for the next phase of his adventure thanks to the real-world experience he acquired, parental guidance, and the advice of the directors and actors he collaborated with. Ron Howard and hashtag 039's portrayal of Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show became the cornerstone that positioned him at the center of American television, even though he was troubled by and disliked the character Opie. The Andy Griffith Show was one of the most popular television shows of its day when it debuted in 1960. Sheriff Andy Taylor, played by Andy Griffith, is the main character of the show, which centers on life in the little town of Mayberry. Opie Taylor, Andy and hashtag 039's naive, compassionate, and inquisitive kid, was a figure that made viewers laugh and feel comfortable, particularly because of his charming bond with his father. The drama, which was set in a small southern town, was infused with humanistic values and depicted the gentle, serene flow of life. From Frances Bavier as Aunt Bee, who took on a parental role for Opie, to Don Knotts as the foolish but endearing Deputy Barney Fife, the sitcom included a remarkable supporting ensemble. Each individual contributed their own special charm, resulting in a blend of touching and humorous moments that spectators found endearing. The Andy Griffith Show quickly won over viewers of all ages with its tender narrative, sentimental atmosphere, and close-knit family connections. It depicted a more straightforward way of life where issues could be resolved with a sincere discussion on the porch, in addition to being a show about a small-town family. The Andy Griffith Show is still a staple of American television decades after it debuted. Keep airing on networks like Paramount Plus, TV Land, and MeTV to captivate new audiences. Viewers can rediscover the charm of a bygone era by streaming the uncut episodes online. On the other hand, the Andy Griffith Show and #039's backstage life was far less tranquil than it seemed. Off-camera, Andy Griffith, who played Sheriff Taylor with a calm and sage demeanor, had a notoriously volatile temper. On set, tension occasionally resulted from his ferocious outbursts. Griffith did not always get along with Don Knotts, who played Deputy Barney Fife and was Griffith and #039's real-life close buddy. According to reports, Griffith and #039's jealousy and underlying tensions were exacerbated by Knotts and #039's multiple Emmy wins for his character, particularly after he departed the show to focus on his own career. The actors and #039's private lives were tangled with scandals and mysteries away from the limelight. In addition to having a volatile temper, Griffith had a convoluted love life. He shook up the set and prompted rumors about his personal life because of his alleged affairs with co-stars including Annetta Corsaw, who played Helen Crump. Despite playing a faithful but awkward guy on TV, Don Knotts had his own problems, such as a tumultuous marriage and extramarital affairs. Despite the fact that the major cast members and #039 relationships wherein and #039 always harmonious, these difficulties helped them to be more genuine and supportive of one another in their performances. The crew overcame personal obstacles to create one of the best television programs ever, despite the conflicts and tensions, thanks to their strong sense of collaboration. Even while the behind-the-scenes events can be upsetting at times, they simply deepen the story of the show and #039's success. Transition to directing. Ron Howard was already a well-known child star from his work in Happy Days and The Andy Griffith Show, but he was always fascinated by both the behind-the-camera world and acting. Ron wasn't #039's satisfied with just being in front of the camera, unlike many performers. Rather, he had a keen interest in the directing process, the craft of visual storytelling, and the production of movies. He became increasingly passionate in directing scenes, stories, and emotions as a result of this curiosity. Ron had the chance to see the work of directors he worked with throughout his years as a child actor. For him, every day on set turned into a powerful lesson. He paid great attention to how filmmakers worked with performers, set up shots, and developed a story. Ron gradually learned from these early encounters how important a director is to the overall planning of the filmmaking process. Ron, however, didn't and #039 merely observe. He started experimenting with his own short film productions, which were modest endeavors but crucial in helping him refine his abilities and deepen his knowledge of the field. As Ron and #039's love for directing increased, he also understood that it would not be simple to go from being a well-known actor to a skilled filmmaker. He was aware that he would continue to be seen by many as Richie Cunningham or Opie Taylor, personalities that would always be associated with the early years of many admirers. He was a filmmaker who could sensitively and intelligently express tales through visuals. At the age of 23, Ron made a daring move in 1977 when he directed his first feature film, Grand Theft Auto. Despite being a low-budget, small-scale project, Ron saw it as a significant turning point in his career as a director. The action comedy Grand Theft Auto was Ron and #039's first major move toward becoming a filmmaker, even if it wasn't and #039's a huge commercial success. However, that was only the start. Ron continued to hone his directing abilities in the late 1970s and early 1980s with a number of television productions, including Skyward, 1980, and Cotton Candy, 1978. He was able to hone his directorial skills through these movies, which improved his knowledge of how to lead a crew, collaborate with performers, and craft narratives from his own viewpoint. These early endeavors, meanwhile, were merely stepping stones and did not immediately propel him to international acclaim as a filmmaker. Ron and #039's first movie that allowed him to fully demonstrate his storytelling skills was the romantic comedy Night Shift, 1982, which marked his debut as a director. Both critics and viewers praised Night Shift, which helped Ron establish himself as a promising up-and-coming filmmaker in Hollywood. Ron and #039's next big project, Splash, built on the success of Night Shift. 1984, a guy falls in love with a mermaid in this romantic comedy, which starred Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks. In addition to creating a stir at the box office, Splash was the first time Ron as a director was widely praised by critics. The film and #039's witty, funny, and poignant narrative showed that Ron was more than just an actor who became a director. The science fiction movie Cocoon, which centered on a group of elderly individuals who find a pool of water with restorative properties, further cemented Ron and #039's reputation in 1985. In addition to being a box office hit, the movie won Donna Mesh the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Ron and #039's ability to manage more intricate special effects and larger-scale films was demonstrated in Cocoon, while still telling a story that is emotionally stirring and profoundly genuine. Parenthood, a family drama about the intricacies of relationships and how each family member handles life and #039's obstacles, was another successful project that Ron completed in 1989. A financial success, Parenthood won accolades from critics for its sensitive fusion of humor and genuine feeling. The movie demonstrated Ron and #039's ability to blend emotion and humor to tell incredibly poignant tales that audiences found compelling. But Apollo 13, 1995, was the real apex of Ron Howard and #039's directing career. His development as a director took a significant step forward with this movie. Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton appeared in Apollo 13, which was based on the actual events of the disastrous 1970 space mission. With approximately $335 million in global box office receipts and 9 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, the movie was a huge commercial success. Ron became one of Hollywood and #039's most renowned directors with Apollo 13, which demonstrated his ability to combine technical mastery with a dramatic, emotionally powerful story. Apollo 13 helped Ron Howard establish himself as one of Hollywood and #039's most renowned and gifted directors, demonstrating that he was more than simply a former child actor but also a skilled filmmaker. Peak of directing career. Ron Howard and #039's career reached its zenith after establishing his fame with Apollo 13. With a number of varied and highly regarded motion pictures. One of his greatest successes was the 2001 movie A Beautiful Mind, which not only told the story of the great mathematician John Nash but also showed his battles with schizophrenia. The film, which Ron directed well, depicted Nash and #039's internal conflict with his own thoughts while simultaneously presenting a heartwarming picture of love, tenacity, and the steadfast support of his loyal wife. 4 Academy Awards were won by A Beautiful Mind, including Best Picture and Best Director for Ron Howard. This accomplishment is considered the apex of Ron and #039's career and solidified his position as one of Hollywood and #039's top directors. Ron continued to follow A Beautiful Mind. Rather, he kept moving his career forward with more ambitious and varied ventures. He directed the 2006 movie adaptation of Dan Brown and #039's well-known mystery thriller novel, The Da Vinci Code. Ron had to strike a balance between the film and #039's exciting aspects and delicate religious concerns because the project was so demanding. Notwithstanding the contentious issues, The Da Vinci Code became an international phenomenon, earning over $750 million. The movie turned out to be one of Ron and #039's most lucrative productions. has demonstrated his aptitude for handling complex, thought-provoking narratives. In addition to his commercial achievements, Ron dabbled in deeper, more thought-provoking storytelling. He released the movie Frost-Nixon in 2008, which was based on the famous talks between former U.S. President Richard Nixon. Frost-Nixon was more than just a political drama, it was a fierce intellectual battle between two people motivated by opposing goals. The film, which Ron directed, captivated viewers from beginning to end by capturing the characters and #039 inner complexity. While many directors tend to focus on just one genre, Ron Howard showed his versatility by consistently pushing himself with a variety of film types. The film received 5 Academy Award nominations, including Best Director for Ron Howard, demonstrating his ability to navigate historical and political narratives. He astonished viewers in 2013 with Rush, a movie on the storied rivalry between Formula One drivers Niki Lauda and James Hunt. Rush kept audiences on the edge of their seats with its flawless fusion of heart-pounding racing scenes and intensely moving narrative. In addition to being a critical hit, the movie demonstrated Ron and #039's talent for transforming an unanticipated subject, like motorsports, into an engaging human drama. Rush also demonstrated Ron and #039's versatility as a director by demonstrating his capacity to turn uncharted territory into engrossing, emotionally charged tales. When Ron was hired to direct the Star Wars narrative Solo in 2018, he faced yet another formidable obstacle. The project, which was a large-scale production with great technical demands, was set in the famous Star Wars world. Midway through the filming process, Ron was called in to replace the original director, which put a great deal of pressure on him to finish the movie. Nevertheless, Ron completed the project successfully thanks to his vast expertise and directing prowess, producing a visually spectacular and emotionally stirring movie for Star Wars fans. Even though Solo and #039's box office result fell short of expectations, Ron and #039's skillful use of action, special effects. His storytelling once more demonstrated his versatility by demonstrating his mastery of a variety of genres, ranging from sci-fi epics to political and psychological tragedies. In addition to his well-known films, Ron Howard and #039's remarkable career is distinguished by the many honors he has won. Ron has received nominations for movies like Rush, Frost or Nixon, Apollo 13, and A Beautiful Mind in addition to his Oscar. His unending inventiveness and versatility are demonstrated by his ongoing research of various subjects and genres, ranging from action-packed tales to human psychology. These attributes have solidified Ron Howard and #039's reputation as one of Hollywood and #039's most gifted and adaptable filmmakers, establishing him as a master storyteller in a variety of film genres. Personal life. In addition to his extraordinary career as a gifted filmmaker, Ron Howard is renowned for having a calm and contented personal life away from the glamour and mayhem that are frequently connected to Hollywood. On June 7, 1975, Cheryl Alley and he were married. And they have developed a solid and enduring connection that has lasted for almost half a century since then. From Ron and #039's days as an actor to his rise to prominence as one of Hollywood and #039's most celebrated directors, Cheryl Alley, later a writer, has been a constant companion and supporter. Ron has frequently stated that he knew Cheryl was the person he wanted to spend the rest of his life with as soon as they first met in high school. They first connected while attending California and #039's John Burroughs High School, and they have supported one another through all of life and #039's highs and lows. According to Ron, open and honest communication is the only key to sustaining a long-lasting relationship. He and Cheryl have consistently established a space where they can listen to one another, express themselves openly, and overcome obstacles together. The steadfast support Cheryl has provided Ron throughout his profession is one of the main elements that has improved their relationship. Cheryl supported Ron as he made the move from acting to directing, giving him the room he needed to pursue his love. Ron has acknowledged that Cheryl and #039's tolerance and encouragement have been crucial to his achievement. Beyond simply being a life partner, she has been more. Throughout the most trying moments, she has been his rock. The arrival of 4 children, Bryce Dallas Howard, Jocelyn Carlyle, Paige Carlyle, and Reed Cross, has further strengthened their marriage. The most well-known of them is Bryce Dallas Howard, who succeeded as an actress and director after following in her parents' and #039 footsteps in the entertainment business. When it comes to the demands of the entertainment industry, Ron has always been protective of his kids. Despite their love for the arts, Ron and Cheryl made the firm decision to prevent their kids from entering the performing industry too soon. Ron wanted to make sure they enjoyed a typical childhood free from comparisons to his own famous performances. The Howard family stays out of the spotlight and maintains a quite secluded existence. Ron has always placed a high importance on family and makes an effort to balance his personal and professional lives. Along with providing for their family, Ron and Cheryl have instilled in their kids a strong sense of morality and accountability, constantly urging them to follow their passions without getting caught up in the glamour of celebrity. Now that they have 5 grandchildren, Ron and Cheryl are proud grandparents who love seeing their family expand. Ron frequently says that his most important values are those of his family. And his family and #039 stability has enabled him to maintain his inventiveness and concentration over the course of his lengthy career. New discoveries regarding the past. Ron Howard frequently thinks back on his early years, when Desilu Studios became more than simply a place of employment, it became an important aspect of his life. He does this when filming The Andy Griffith Show. Ron's seen and experienced a lot of memorable things from an early age. Both charming and difficult. Growing up on a movie set occasionally made him feel as though he was living in a parallel universe where fact and fiction were entwined. Attempting to toss a pebble into a lake during the show and #039's famous opening scene is among Ron and #039's most memorable moments. He couldn't and #039 throw the rock far enough with his weak arms. Therefore, someone on the team had to intervene and toss it for him. Even in the realm of film, things are not always as they seem on screen, as these minor yet significant nuances demonstrate. Ron doesn't and #039 hesitate to share the lesser-known facts, even though he still treasures the happy memories of his time spent working on set. The Andy Griffith Show and #039's set was and #039 always a calm place. There were crew members who frequently drank alcohol and a lot of cigarette smoke. At times, the set was too harsh for a small youngster. Ron remembered that the ubiquitous smoke frequently caused his eyes to sting, and he was exposed to sights unfit for his age, like obscene graffiti on the walls of the restrooms. Being raised in such a setting presented both joy and many difficulties. Ron had to manage the demands of both his professional life and his personal life as a kid actor. Because of his prominence, he was frequently made fun of by his peers, who made fun of his persona op. But rather than allowing these encounters to depress him, Ron discovered how to overcome them. He gained perseverance and a greater comprehension of the harsh reality of the entertainment industry from the lessons he learned in his early years. These early experiences served as the cornerstone that helped Ron develop into the gifted director he is today as he got older and pursued his career. He often attributes his desire for working behind the camera to his time spent watching directors on set. The difficulties and pleasures of his early years provided him with a special talent for telling stories, which was demonstrated in the popular movies he directed in his later years. Ron has come to understand the value of tenacity and passion as a result of his travel reflections. His journey from a well-liked child actor to a celebrated filmmaker is a tribute to development, conquering challenges, and the never-ending quest for knowledge. And even though time has gone by, he still cherishes and cannot replace the memories of the Andy Griffith program as a significant aspect of his life and work. Ron Howard is still pursuing his love of filmmaking at the age of 70. Despite this, he is no longer at the height of his career. Today, he lives a happy life with his family, especially his wife, Cheryl Alley, who has been his constant partner for almost 50 years. With 4 children, they have created a happy family. Bryce Dallas Howard has followed in her father and #039's footsteps and established herself as a filmmaker and actress. Additionally, Ron and Cheryl have a strong relationship with their grandchildren and spend a lot of time with them. However, Ron Hassan and #039T completely abandoned the movie industry. He is working on a number of significant projects in 2024. The most notable of these is the upcoming release of Eden, a survival horror movie he has been working on for more than 10 years. Eden centers on an enigmatic occurrence in the Galapagos Islands, enthralling viewers with a compelling plot and a cast that includes Jude Law and Ana de Armas. After working in the film industry for decades, Ron and #039's creative spark is still very much alive and well thanks to this very personal initiative. Apart from Eden, in the documentary Jim Henson, Idea Man, Ron Howard explores the life of Jim Henson, the man behind the Muppets. Ron is quite pleased with this project. It not only tells the account of a once-in-a-generation artist such as Henson, but it also shows how Henson has greatly influenced Ron and #039's own artistic development. At the moment, Ron continues to put his all into his career, but he also prioritizes his family and motivational endeavors. He frequently takes stock of his life and profession and expresses gratitude for his accomplishments. From his beginnings as a young performer to his current position as a well-known filmmaker. From a beloved kid performer on the Andy Griffith Show to one of Hollywood and #039's most famous directors, Ron Howard has had an incredible journey. He developed a love for telling stories both in front of and behind the camera as a result of his years spent on set. From classic movies like Apollo 13 and A Beautiful Mind to his most recent endeavors like Eden, Ron Howard has demonstrated that the secret to success is tenacity, lifelong learning, and an unrelenting commitment to his craft. Ron and #039's story is a powerful illustration of the value of having lofty goals and putting in endless effort to realize them. His accomplishments as a director have solidified his status as one of the most gifted individuals in the film industry. Ron Howard and #039's career will undoubtedly continue to inspire future generations and shine brightly. We appreciate you viewing the video today. Please remember to hit the like and quote button and subscribe to the channel if you liked hearing about Ron Howard and #039's amazing life story. This will ensure that you don't and #039T miss any more great stuff. Tell us what you think of his transformation from child actor to renowned director in the comments section. I and #039I'll see you in the upcoming video.